Painting in Photoshop has never been more fun. Let's take a look at some features brand new to Photoshop CS5. Photoshop has a brand new color picker. With a heads-up display or HUD interface that lets you keep your eyes on where you're working, choosing colors in CS5 has become a much more seamless experience. Let's get started in our Chapter 7 folder and open the file titled HUD. Now this may look like a blank empty document, but if you click on your Paths panel here, you'll notice that there are 3 paths. Now if you don't see your Paths panel on screen, I want you to go up to the Window menu and select Paths. We've got Path 1, 2, and 3, and I'll click on them in turn so you can see what they contain. There's Path 1, 2, and 3. Essentially what I've done here is convert type into a path, and I'll show you how to do that at the end of this lesson. What we want to do now is add color to this type. To do that, we need to convert the path to a selection. So with Path 1 active here, I'm simply going to Command-click on the path icon. On Windows, you would Control-click, and that converts our path into a selection. Now what we want to do is paint on this selection. So let's choose the Brush tool. B is the shortcut there. And the size of the brush isn't that crucial, but what I do want you to make sure of is that your hardness is set to 0. We want to have a nice feathered edge for the effect that we're going to achieve here. Now let's bring up the HUD interface. The shortcut is Control-Option-Command on a Mac, Shift-Alt-Right-Click on Windows. And let me go into full screen mode here, and I'll drag this over just a bit. And again, our shortcut, Control-Option-Command on a Mac, Shift-Alt-Right-Click on Windows, and that brings up our HUD color picker here. I should point out here that Photoshop actually offers 2 different HUD color pickers. They have a hue strip, which is what you're seeing on screen, and there's also a hue wheel. Both of these options come in varying sizes. What we're looking at right now is the smaller sized hue strip. If you'd like to experiment with the other options, simply go up to Preferences, and in the General tab, you'll see a HUD color picker pull down that will list all your available choices. Now in this main box, we have our Saturation Lightness picker. So we can choose a color that's over here. If we want to change the hue, notice we have a hue slider to the right of this. Now to move back and forth between these 2 boxes, you press the space bar. Why the space bar? Well, notice that I can move the mouse with the space bar pressed, and this color ring stays put. It doesn't drag over here towards the edge of the box. Once I am over the hue slider, if I let go of the space bar, now I can select a hue. Let's start with something right around here. Notice that my foreground color in the Tools panel has automatically been updated, and I'm simply going to paint, swiping across this selection. And notice that because I have such a wide feathered edge, we get this nice soft gradient where the feathering blends out nicely. We're going to go choose our HUD color picker again, Control-Option-Command on a Mac, Shift-Alt-Right-Click on Windows, and let's choose a different color. We'll move over here, press the space bar to change the hue. We'll get a cyanish color right about there. And let's paint across in the opposite direction. So now we've got a nice little blend, a sort of gradient of those 2 colors. We're going to load our Path 2 selection here, simply Command-clicking. That would be Control-clicking on Windows. And again, we'll bring back our HUD color picker. And for this, let's choose a pretty saturated color. We'll press the space bar, and we'll start down around here. Simply paint across that. Again, our HUD color picker. Let's move this down a bit, and we'll just paint a slightly different green there. And let's load our Path 3 selection here. Command-click on a Mac, Control-click on Windows. And for this final one, let's bring back our color picker. We'll press the space bar so we can move and change the hue. We'll start this one in this yellow range. And again, another selection. Let's move this over here. Again, we'll press the space bar. We'll go for something right about here. We can fill that, and last but not least, let's choose a blue this time. So we'll move over here to the hue slider, choose a blue. We'll press the space bar again so we can move back to our saturation lightness, and we'll choose a lighter blue over here and simply paint across with that. So we've got our HUD color picker, which provides a fast, seamless way to choose colors. We don't have to mouse around to different areas of the screen to choose the colors, and we don't have to take our focus off where we're working. Now, I promised that I would show you how I got my text to be converted into paths, and it's very simple. Let's choose the type tool here, and we'll deselect with Command D on a Mac, Control D on Windows, and I'm simply going to click and type. The font doesn't matter, the size doesn't matter. I'm just going to type the word my and hit the enter key to commit to that. Now I'll go down to layer, under type, and I did warp the text here in these examples, so I'll show you how we do that. We simply bring up our warp text dialog box and we'll just choose a shape here at random. We'll just bulge that, and let's maybe make it a little more obvious, a little more distorted. And we'll do something like that. We'll hit OK. And we've got our type layer. Notice the icon here has changed. We have T resting above what looks like a little mound. That indicates that we have warped text. What we're going to do next is go back up to the layer menu, choose type, and create work path. Now we have a work path. I'll click on it so you can see that it is the outline of our type. If we turn off this type layer, or even throw it away, we still have this outline intact. And of course, a work path is just a temporary selection, so we can go up here to the flyout menu, choose Save Path. We'll leave the default name for now, and now we have a fourth path. So there you have it. That's how you convert type into a vector path.